All right, double header tonight, Willie. Depending on when anybody is watching this, they will never know. But if they are watching it back to back, we are wearing the same things. We're doing two tonight. We just talked about the newest episode of The Mandalorian. But Willie, thank you for joining me. We are going to talk the Lego Star Wars Holiday Special on a special episode of Mando. Going to give you the quick rundown. Rey, Finn, Poe, and Rose are taking Chewie to Kashyyyk after the fall of the First Order or the Final Order or the Sith Eternal, whatever sequel bad guy you want to attribute. Rey is teaching the ways of the Force to Finn, so really confirming the fact that Finn was Force sensitive. And she gets discouraged and goes off to find some Force wisdom, and she finds what I'm calling the Infinity Crystal. And it brings her through a highlight reel of Skywalker Saga moments and one Mando cameo as she learns the true meaning of Life Day. Willie Clark, please give me your favorite moment from the Lego Star Wars Holiday Special.
My favorite moment, I think, has to be the trade dispute joke. That got me.
A lot of great jokes in this episode. A lot of fan-friendly jokes.
And I mean, it's interesting for so many reasons. But this is essentially Disney-sanctioned robot chicken.
It did feel like that a little bit.
Especially, I think even like because the Lego style isn't that far away removed from Robot Chicken either, with the action figures and stuff. So yeah, it's very interesting. I mean, we've talked about this at various points before, but it's great fun when Disney pokes fun at itself. So
a ton of fun when Disney pokes fun at itself, and obviously just to know this is of course geared for young children, but we're doing it because it's a Star Wars thing and we love talking about it. If you don't know what my favorite part of the episode is, let me please tell you. Now the trailers did ruin this for me, at the surprise at least. So I was expecting this.
If you didn't know,
yeah, I would have screamed out loud. Like whenever I watched it, I would have just started screaming. Because he does not get a lot of appearances. He is my favorite Star Wars character. The 30-year-old music act that came in to save the party. I can't believe I finally get to say this, but Max Rebo is in the Lego Star Wars Holiday Special. It is a Life Day miracle.
They've been listening to Mando. They know what the people want.
They know. They finally did something I've been asking for since Jump Street, because there are basically no canon appearances outside of Return of the Jedi of Max Rebo. So I absolutely love seeing him, and I do want to point out he has 4 appendages in this iteration. Now I know that is a hotly disputed part of Max Rebo's makeup, whether you think he is only supposed to have 2 or 4. The Lego Star Wars, I don't know if this is canon. I don't know if any of this is canon. I doubt it, but I'm here to tell you that he had 4. He had 2 arms and 2 legs, and he played the red ball organ like an angel, as he always does. Did anything surprise you about this special?
Surprise me. I mean, yeah. I mean, I think I think how far, like, it's weird to say how far they were able to take the jokes, but I mean, they had a Jar Jar Binks joke in here, for crying out loud. They weren't afraid to pull any punches. Like, can you imagine? Like, I'm just thinking, can you imagine being, the writer on this show and then sitting in front of, I don't know, Kathleen Kennedy or Mickey Mouse or whoever you pitched a show to, and just being like, okay, so, and then we're gonna make a couple small jokes. We've got one about the trade dispute, and we've got one about Star Killer Base. That wasn't really that original.
Basically, just saying, like, I mean, I think they poked fun at all of the Skywalker saga, but they definitely took particular aim at the sequel trilogy, especially with Kylo Ren's rock music posters
Um,
dedicated to the Emperor and Vader.
and his ab joke too.
The
Like
ab joke was
that's
wild.
so like that's the joke that me and my friends make when we sit around and watch the movie. Like it was a good. They had good stuff in here. Yeah.
There definitely was some good stuff. I particularly like the joke where Admiral Akbar gives a present, and they're like, "Is this a scarf?" And he goes, "It's a wrap."
Yeah.
And I'm just like, it's so obvious, but I loved it.
And even right before that is Lando's just like, I hope it's a cape. I hope it's a cape.
Oh
Like
yeah, that's what it is. Like,
yeah, like they just do so. They just do so. They
they
did
did
a
a
really
great
good.
job.
Yeah.
I was surprised that in the Lego Star Wars Holiday Special, we essentially got Star Wars Endgame. Because I'm going to give you some of the things that were in this. I've already mentioned the Infinity Crystal. We also had portals,
Yep.
time traveling, the highlight reel of past events, um, and then the two sides running at each other. So they basically just were like copy paste Avengers Endgame. What did everybody like about that? Um, and redid that. So I was not expecting that going in. It was a little. They borrowed a little bit from A Christmas Carol because, of course, they brought a little here. With Ghost Yoda, who
Yep.
serves multiple purposes in this. He is the narrator,
Yep.
and then appears at the end in the Burl Ives snowman outfit, and then he's also integral to teaching Rey. Of course, this as a holiday special, this does have a lesson which is friends and family are great.
You know what? I mean, I think that, I mean, I think obviously, I think there's more room to be heavy-handed with messages and holiday specials, but I felt that, it just made it landed much better than the muddled messaging of the sequel trilogy. Like, is it heavy-handed? Sure. But it's kind of nice for it to just be like, you know what? The Jedi are all about just being friends. Like at the end of the day, like
Master and apprentice,
yeah.
they want to be with each other. I'll tell you a part, and you're exactly right. It really worked for me as well. I'll tell you the moment that really got me. So Yoda tells Rey that the power all along you had, and then as she is reaching deep within inside herself and pulling all the Kylo crystals around to create a portal to get out of her mess, Yoda is narrating and says, "All living things the Force connects. In connection, strength we find, and great things can happen." And they played the musical cue from the Rise of Skywalker trailer, which I remember just like tearing up at. It's basically just like a very emotional instrumental version of the main Star Wars theme. And they put it in this during that moment, during that line. And I'm like, I'm here for this.
Yeah, and so that's actually a really good point. So it's interesting because in eagle-eared listeners of Mandalorian, any of the spin-off shows, they really don't use John Williams music. Rebels, Clone War, nothing really touches it. But all of these moments were pulling in themes and scores from their actual parts in the film that they were taken from, which is a nice touch.
I really like that touch. Anything that you did not love about the holiday special?
Yeah, it took me a bit to get into it. I started it, and I think it was just because I think it took itself a little bit too seriously at the beginning, because I was like, oh, so this is like trying to be canon, like it's set up it's set up after it's Rey teaching them, but then I'm like, well, wait, if it's canon, Rey doesn't care about the Jedi anymore, so why is she worried? Why is she like they burned all the books? That was the whole point. And then I'm like, so why is she doing all this stuff? And then like I was like 5-10 minutes into it, and I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna make it through this thing. And then once they started, making jokes at each other, and like I said, I do think the heartfelt messaging, landed pretty well. But it takes a bit to really get cooking.
Yeah, again, geared towards kids, so it was a little bit of like that. Okay, I'm into this, but I texted you beforehand. I'm like, trust me, it is good. It's worth the watch. The part I really didn't care for, and I guess I understand, is the inconsistency in the voice actors. So you and I were talking. So here's they got Kelly Marie Tran to be Rose. They got Billy D. Williams to be Lando. They got Anthony Daniels as C-3PO. Then they got James Arnold Taylor, who was the voice of Obi-Wan in the Clone Wars. They got Matt Lanter, who was the voice of Anakin in the Clone Wars. D. Bradley Baker to be the clones. But that's basically it that I noted in the credits for key cast members from previous Star Wars elements. Obviously, it's difficult to pay all the people that you had in there, but I thought there were some notable. Sam Witwer not being the Emperor really bothered me. But you made a good point about this. What are your feelings about Lego Emperor?
I do think, and I mean, obviously, it's hard to say because I'm not a 5-year-old kid anymore, but I feel like I'm normally not good at picking out voices if they don't match or not. And like Rey, Finn, Poe, none of them were good. And now my thing with the Emperor is they did very much, I think, the same take, again, that Robot Chicken did with Palpatine, where he's this kind of over the top loony. His voice is a little higher. And so I think that, to me, having someone else voice him actually helped what they were going for. So of all of the characters, I think he was the one I was most okay with not being voiced accurately. Because he's a caricature of Palpatine. He's not really Palpatine.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
I'm always a little wary when they do the same treatment with Vader. I thought Vader was treated well in this. They didn't do anything over the top.
He was treated badly. Everyone hated Vader.
I know, but I mean, like, he wasn't. I don't know.
I liked it. I liked what they did with Vader. I mean, I think the stuff they did with most of the characters I thought was pretty good. Like it was fun. It was put together well. The jokes were good, and I mean, it makes absolutely sense. This is what would happen if the Emperor met Kylo and learned that his plans were going to fail. So now he's going to go back in time to try to fix them. And then, I mean, they just pulled in so much stuff. It was good fun.
They really did. Any other things that you just overall appreciated about this? Any other funny lines that you liked?
Let me see.
I know we covered a lot of them already.
You know what? I did like them pulling Mando into, actually.
Yeah, cameo by Mando and The Child, and the musical cue.
Yeah. And then even even when they were like, oh, such a stupid name about Starkiller Base. Then they've got Maul there without his legs, just flopping around fighting.
Yeah.
I will say, and I didn't actually remember this until now. I'm very happy that you got your fan favorite character. However, no Ahsoka.
No Ahsoka.
Which is even more interesting, given she's popping up in The Mandalorian. But I mean, we got different versions of Anakin and Obi-Wan connecting with each other. If you're into Star Wars, I think you think you're gonna like this. It's a lot of it's poking fun at Star Wars, but it also it has a reverence for the material that it's poking fun of, which can be tricky to balance sometimes. Yeah.
Agreed. The balance there is very key. I totally agree. Is that there was enough in jokes for all levels of fandom, but still, again, that respect for what Star Wars is, and also what a holiday special is supposed to be.
Yeah.
Setting it at Life Day. The 3 Obi-Wans, by the way, saying hello there at the same time was great. One of the things I really liked, and was almost my favorite if my boy Max Rebo wasn't in the episode, it was Rey training Finn. I really like that idea. I like Rey's yellow lightsaber making an appearance. They even did the same musical cue of her very specific, unique boot up noise. I'm sure there's actually a Star Wars name for the emitter lighting, igniting, whatever it is. I really like Rey and Finn as master and apprentice. I like that they put that back in there. And I'm guess this is my our last category in Mando is what we observe for the future, and I'm just going to transition this into mine, which is I don't know if there's going to be more holiday specials or whatnot, but I can get on board with more sequel era content if it's handled in such a way that seems fresh and not the way the sequel trilogy actually handles some things. So I'm on board for Rey training Finn to be a Jedi. I'm on board for more Rey and Finn stories.
So I'm gonna flip that.
Okay.
That was again one of the things that I think that rubbed me the wrong way at the beginning. Was this canon or non-canon, but this property that's not the main series saying, oh, well, they kind of hinted at this, so we're just going to do it, even though we're probably never going to do it for real.
Sure.
And also, I do think it undoes a lot of Rey's characterization in terms of her, kind of really turning away from the Jedi. I feel like I feel like the whole point of her arc is, burn the Jedi. Like, she burned the Jedi texts; they weren't there. She shouldn't have reverence for them anymore. So I think they were kind of inconsistent with that. That being said, I do think that Daisy Ridley and Rey is probably one of the stronger elements of the sequel trilogy.
Yeah.
And I know they've been very coy about this, but if there was just a trilogy of Rey doing stuff, like, I'm immediately in. Rey is a great character. Ridley does a fantastic job with her. And I think that, I think I've said this for Rey, Poe, and Finn, but I think they're all great characters that just were very disserviced by the stories, that they had to play around in. So
I think Finn especially. And Poe was supposed to die in episode 7, but they kept him around because Oscar Isaac asked, and then they didn't kill him after that. Yeah, so Rey giving up the Jedi way is an interesting point. I don't know if I totally agree. Did she burn the books in? Is that what she was throwing into the fire in 9?
Luke and Yoda burned the books down.
But she had him on the Falcon after that. That's what she was reading in Rise of Skywalker. Yeah, it's a quick cut.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm wondering, actually, I don't know if you're incorrect in saying, because there is a moment in 9 when she tries to throw the lightsaber in the fire after. So Luke and Yoda burned the tree down, the Force tree, or whatever it is. I'm wondering if she throws the books in. I don't remember that. But she's definitely. Here's the thing. You're right about the fact that she's not like a prototypical Jedi. She kind of takes on a new form. She's got a yellow lightsaber. She calls herself Skywalker. I had always thought that was going to be the conceit with episode 9, is that there weren't going to be any more Jedi or Sith. They were going to burn the let the past die, and there was going to create a new form of Force user called Skywalkers. Could still be an interesting way to go. So I just am here. Again, to your point, I really like Rey, and I like Finn a lot. I think they could have been handled more comprehensively, let's say, and with more reverence. So I'm here for that. Any overall in or out on the Lego Star Wars Holiday Special?
Definitely in, and into the point where I think this may be go on my yearly holiday special watch list.
Really? Well, it'll definitely be on mine, right next to Toy Story That Time Forgot. If you haven't watched that, please watch Toy Story That Time Forgot. Another great one. And of course, with all the Rankin and Bass and all of the Peanuts Christmas special or holiday special. I don't know if it's Christmas or holiday. Anyways, this was a great one. Thank you, Willie, for humoring me with this. And I'm going to leave you with this last line that we were joking about. Participation trophies for Jedi. There are not. Thank you so much for this special Lego Star Wars Holiday Special edition of Mando.
Cheers.